And hello. We are going to spend just a few minutes today talking about a very controversial topic of affirmative action. And if you look at this image here, I think it does a pretty good job of showing you the arguments that many people use for the idea of affirmative action. Before we look at what it means, just take a look at the different people here. And you'll notice how there are four sets of people, and the people on this side tend to have much more obstacles in their way. And then as you move more to the right, you'll notice how these people don't really have very many obstacles getting in their way from being successful. Not only do they not have very many obstacles, but if you look carefully, I mean, they are white men. Over here, these people are darker, you have a woman, and so this cartoonist is trying to show you how certain groups of people in the United States haven't always had a fair chance of being successful. Alright, just a quick little review. We've talked a little bit about this in class, but our government, the United States government, hasn't always been very nice when it comes to treating not only people of color, but women as well. We talked about how slavery existed for many hundreds of years in the United States, as well as Jim Crow laws that legalized, as you see in this picture here, segregation, the separation of races. We also looked at how Native Americans were not treated very well. We talked about the Trail of Tears incident, where Native Americans were kicked off their land and forced to travel many hundreds of miles, thousands of miles really, to a new territory where many died along the way. As I said before, women did not always, and still don't really always get treated perfectly well. Though the government does prevent women from being discriminated now, women did not get the right to vote until 1920. In terms of our history, that's really not that long ago. And finally, we talked a little bit about this too, how during World War II, when the United States was fighting Japan, Germany, and Italy, we in this country, the government, took all the Japanese people and force them to live in what are called internment camps. And if you look at this image here, they're almost like little prison camps. I mean, you see the bars here. People weren't tortured or killed, but these Japanese Americans, many of them citizens, were taken from their homes, forced to live in a place against their will, against their liberty, with the purpose of trying to protect the United States from potential Japanese spies. So, as you look at all this, how would you summarize the United States government's treatment of people of color and women? Pretty bad. I hope you thought that. And that leads us to the concept of affirmative action. All right? Just like we said, many groups of people have had a history of experiencing prejudice, discrimination. Therefore, to help these groups improve diversity in society, many universities and schools, as well as businesses, use what are called affirmative action policies. Now, one of the things that makes affirmative action a little bit tough to kind of grasp is it's not one specific thing. For example, a bill is a proposed law. That's what a bill is. Affirmative action isn't really one specific type of policy. The idea here, and as you see in this definition, it involves many different policies, so there's many different ways of doing it, of providing assistance to groups of people who have, and this is very key, who have historically, maybe not right now, but maybe people like them in the past, faced discrimination, whether it was getting into universities or receiving employment. Now, as we've kind of hinted, the whole purpose of affirmative action policies are to provide disadvantaged minority groups, women and people of color, with a boost, with the ability to kind of, be successful and get past this historic discrimination. It's kind of a way to try to fix past discrimination. All right. Now, as you can probably tell, this is a topic that is very controversial, and some people think affirmative action is constitutional. Some people think it goes against the Constitution. So let's take a look here at the 14th Amendment, and this plays a big key in this debate. Here's an excerpt of the 14th Amendment. It says, "No state shall deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of laws." And what does that mean? States must treat all people equally. So, the question is, does affirmative action go against the 14th Amendment, or does it follow the 14th Amendment? And so your answer to this question is going to be your personal opinion. And so there's a couple ways of looking at it. Those people who argue for affirmative action tend to believe that students need a boost to make up for historic discrimination, as well as affirmative action provides more diversity, which would not always happen. So if you favor these types of issues, you are going to be on the opinion that the 14th Amendment does allow for affirmative action. However, if you are against affirmative action, you might believe that, hey, we are not treating people equally when we do affirmative action. We are actually giving some people a boost up while not giving other people a boost. And many people use this argument when they oppose affirmative action. Many people assume and say that affirmative action leads to reverse racism, that by helping black people or Latino people, you are not being fair to white people or Asian people. These people that are against affirmative action tend to believe that organizations, businesses, schools, etc., should make decisions on a color-blind basis, that these organizations should not look at a person's race, gender, ethnicity. They should make decisions about people's abilities, their grades, their experiences.